Okay, let's talk about how to choose your first tarot deck. I have ended up with 6 decks, and that's because I ended up making the wrong decision 5 times. And so I don't want you to end up in the same position where you're buying decks, you think I've got the right one, you're taking a lot of time to try to learn the images on the cards and connect with the cards, only to then get frustrated with them because of maybe 2 of the tips I'm going to give you today that you didn't know about. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to start again. And it is quite exhausting to start learning all of the meanings and connecting to the cards and getting used to all the new images each time you change your deck. So hopefully with these 2 tips, you're not going to run into some of the same problems that I did. Okay, so the first one is that when you go on a tarot course, like I did when I was buying my first deck, you will be taught most likely the Rider-Waite meanings. That's the main deck, Rider-Waite. I don't have that deck, but I do have their stickers. And so these are just what some of the cards in the deck look like. So what you're going to find is that when you do a course on tarot, if you want to learn the traditional tarot meanings, then they're going to be based on that deck. And it's really easy to actually buy a deck thinking, oh, it says tarot on it, so this must be a tarot deck. this will be fine, and find that it isn't. So when I did a tarot course years ago, my first mistake was buying this one. It's called the Akashic Tarot. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this deck, but it wasn't until I actually got on the course and they're talking about all the different suits that I'm like, none of those suits are in this course. And they're talking about how many cards are in a deck. I'm like, this has got way less cards in the deck. And I realized, oh, it's a tarot deck that somebody has completely made up their own set of suits and things like that. So you want to look out for that. Now, the suits that you're looking for in Rider-Waite, it's a bit like a deck of normal cards with things like hearts and diamonds and spades and what have you. With your Rider-Waite tarot, the suits that you're looking for, if you want to learn the typical meanings, are the wands, the cups, the pentacles, and the swords. So if they've got those suits, then you're fine. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you've got the right suits so that it's working off the Rider-Waite original tarot. So I made that was my first thing that I got wrong. And then the second main thing that I would pass on is to get a deck. If you're learning the meanings, it's really, really helpful, I've discovered, to use a deck that is either the Rider-Waite, or if you don't like them, like I don't like the colours and I don't like the images on them, that you get a deck which is based on it, where the pictures are as close as possible to these ones, but they've just modernised them a bit. There are loads of decks out there where people have done just that. And so I've got 2 examples here. Firstly, I'm going to show you the example of the one that I got that was not based on Rider-Waite. It did have all the right suits. So tick there, but these are just incredibly abstract in their symbolism and don't look at all, well, a little bit, but not really, like the original Rider-Waite. So just to remind you, you're looking for symbols a bit like this. And I bought this absolutely gorgeous deck. I mean, it has brought me so much joy just because it's so beautiful. However, the pictures are nothing like the Rider-Waite for the majority of the deck. By the way, this is a Threads of Fate deck. Check them out, they're so beautiful. The Weaver Tarot. But I would say on reflection, I don't regret buying it. It's absolutely beautiful. But I did not learn the meanings behind the tarot. I didn't start to take them in for about 4 years. And even then, it was still just felt incredibly frustrating. And then I realized, oh, I didn't know this. So all of these images have got tons of symbolism. So when you are reading someone's tarot, when you pull one of these cards, or a card that is based on the Rider-Waite deck, then the card is going to tell you what the meaning is through the symbols on it. It's going to help you out an awful lot. Whereas if you're pulling, something like that, then it's going to look totally different to the Rider-Waite symbols, and it's just going to be that much harder, in my experience, to be able to figure out what the cards mean. I'm dyslexic, so I'm a really visual person. I mean, other people that can maybe have more of a photographic memory might not struggle so much, but that's just a tip for your, particularly for your visual learners. But I think kind of for anybody, it makes sense that if your deck looks a lot like the original, then it's going to be a lot easier to be able to learn what the meanings are. So if you're like I am, don't really love the Rider-Waite colours and the style of illustration, then like I was saying, there's lots and lots of people that have created decks that are very closely based on it, but they've just modernized it and made them just a bit more modern and beautiful. This one is actually called the Modern Witch Tarot. I absolutely adore it. The colours are gorgeous. The images are really, really, really close to the original images. But the reason that these weren't the deck for me is that they're just incredibly glossy and thick. And you'd think that would be a great thing, but I just find that I don't enjoy the way they shuffle. They slightly stick sometimes, and it's a lot of it is actually just down to how you connect with the cards. I just didn't connect with them, but I adore them and I love having them as a deck to occasionally use. But for an intuitive reason, and also because of the thickness and the glossiness, that I don't enjoy the way they shuffle, it just couldn't be my everyday one. So there we go. That's my first 3 decks, so we got it wrong. It's actually not based on traditional tarot. Too abstract for me to learn the meanings. I'm getting somewhere with this one, but I don't enjoy the actual card stock. And so we've then got one more before I found the deck for me. And this is a nice little tip. So this one actually is based on Rider-Waite. It was just £2 off Temu, and it's got the meanings on it. So I thought, oh, this is the deck for me. I've not only got the upright meaning, but it also gives you the reverse meaning. It also gives you an overall meaning. So I thought, oh, this is what I need, but I just did not connect to this deck. It was great to use for 6 months, but I still found that the meanings just weren't going in. And what I needed is a much bigger deck with a much bigger picture where I'm really getting most of the meaning from the images. Again, because I'm a visual learner, if I see an image, so when I compare the size of these, this image, I can immediately read so much into it. This one is just so small. Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. So that was number 4. This is when I arrived and found, oh, I've got the deck for me. And that is when I found this little deck. I got this off Temu as well. Again, it was just about £2. And I thought it was an oracle deck. And when it arrived, I was like, oh, it's actually tarot. I wasn't looking for a tarot deck. I was looking for oracle decks for my in-person sister circles. And I needed to buy 10, so I thought, oh, I'll get something off Temu. But it's fantastic that I got these because I really connected with these cards. And I had this intuitive guidance come through of like, put these to one side. You're going to use these now. And I was like, what? I spent something like 60 or 70 pounds on these, shipping from, I don't know if it's Canada or the States, but I feel like that was 20 or 30 quid. You know, I've invested so much, and I really found that because I'd invested a lot in a deck that is completely beautiful, for a good 4 years, I just couldn't allow myself to not use them every day because it just felt like such a waste. And now I'm like, it's fine. I can, just enjoy their beauty. But when I really wanted to get serious about learning them, I realized I had to have great images. I don't know how I found this out, but not long after it, I think I just suddenly realized, hang on, if they're off Temu, have they ripped off an actual person who, is this a rip-off of a deck that exists? In which case I don't feel comfortable with using that. I want to find the original deck and buy it. And I looked it up. I don't know, I must have Googled like a picture of it and then put it through Google Lens, and then I found it. And I found that, yes, it is actually by Tarn Ellis, Earth Woman Tarot. So by comparison, these are the Temu ones and these are the proper ones. The proper ones are, Oh, so beautiful. Teamy ones are a bit glossy and really small. I really, really love the proper ones. And these ones are just where I have arrived, and I love them, and I can't imagine ever wanting to change them. They are very, very close to these symbols, but as you can see, just the illustrations just have a totally different energy about them. They've got, again, lots of the pinks and the aqua colours that I just really, really love. They're just so beautiful. And they are very, very close in the symbols and in the images to the original. So I just find that this is like the perfect solution for myself. So to recap, the two main things you want to look out for. One, based on this story, is it the right deck? Like, is it actually based on the Rider-Waite series? Is it the same suits and everything? Is it the same amount of cards? Make sure that you are using a deck that is based off Rider-Waite. Second thing to remember is if the images are going to be really, really abstract, you might struggle to learn them. Certainly for your first deck. Whereas if you get a deck which is very much, I mean, here's a great example. This is the Fool, the very first one in the Major Arcana, and it's based on this one here. So you've got a man walking, stepping off a cliff, possibly. There's water in the background, sunny sky, all of that kind of thing. But here we've got a woman in my opinion, in just like a much more beautiful illustration. So yeah, just make sure that your images are based off of the Rider-Waite images, and you will find it so much easier to see the symbology. Like the symbology of slightly stepping off a cliff is really, really important in the meaning. So you want images ideally that are as close as possible to the originals. Okay, those are my tips. Happy shopping. If you've got any questions, feel free to message me or just send me a DM over on Instagram. I'm just Kia Cannons on Instagram. I will be having an online tarot course launching in 2026. So whenever you see this, it's either coming or it's out there, where I will teach you then everything about the meanings and how to get to grips from it. And I'm somebody who is not massively academic, but I really do want to do it right. And I love learning, but it's got to be fun and it's got to be visual. And that's the way that I will be teaching it. So if you feel like you need a beginner's course, then maybe check that out too.